We come to this place to relax, loosen our corset, and have some quiet time.
Girl, be so for real. This is where we get into it and really spill all the tea.
Ooh, that part. By the way, anyone got a red lipstick? I saw a cute guy out there.
Welcome to
The Powder Room. And we're back. Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 3 of The Powder Room.
We're
Thank you all for
back.
leaving me alone there and making me do that by myself.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if you wanted us to join in or not. I was.
Well, I did
was
it
contemplating
anyways. I did it anyways.
But I felt like I just wanted to hear your magnificent voice acting skills.
Thank you. Thank you.
I know.
Yes.
I mean, it's part of the resume. You gotta add more to it.
It definitely isn't. I have not been hired for any voice acting yet.
There's only been 2 episodes of the podcast so far, so maybe we need to promote your skills more.
Hello, hello, producers of not Nickelodeon.
Nickelodeon, girl, go for
Cartoon
oh my God.
Network. Cartoon
Inside
Network.
Out 2. I just saw it.
It's so cute.
I
was
haven't seen it yet.
incredible.
I need to see it.
It's not as good as the first one, though.
I have to disagree with you. So
The first one made me cry. Second one, I was like, wow, I've never been more related to a character like Anxiety.
I personally I didn't see the first one. When I saw the second one, I just wanted to see the second one. And for anyone else out there who has never seen the first one, honestly, go see the second. You don't really need to know what happens in the first one to
No,
follow
you really
along.
don't. You really don't.
But I just felt like the relatability of the second one was so real.
I would say you are disgust.
I like that other one. I like the wee one.
Oh, the one on the phone who's like
The
I
one
don't
who's
give a
born.
fuck. Yeah.
Oh, ennui.
Ennui.
Aurora is definitely Joy.
I'm Joy.
Your anxiety down.
She
Your
was in a
anxiety
turtleneck.
mixed with sadness.
She was literally in a turtleneck and wide leg trousers. I was like, read me down, bitch.
Fashion,
read me down.
honey. Fashion.
With messy hair, I was like, this is
I love that
feel
we
attacked.
give off such stereotypical emotions. Just pure emotions.
Anxiety has been running that table for almost 30 years, Diva.
We know.
And
we
she
know.
will for at least 30 more.
Hopefully
Maybe.
not. Give me
Who
at
knows?
least 10 more.
Okay, well, now that we've completely gone off the rails, how are we doing, divas?
Oh my gosh, we're good. At the time of filming this, I just got back from LA yesterday. Perla got back on the weekend.
Sunday.
And I feel kind of dead on the inside, but also so fulfilled. It was a very rewarding week away. But I'm kind of okay, let's get back to the regular schedule, try to get back to the groove of just what I do every day.
The beach has missed you so much.
The beach has missed me so much, and honestly, I have missed the beach. I didn't get to go to the beach in LA.
Yeah, we didn't. Thank
Is the
God.
closest one Venice or Santa Monica?
Santa Monica.
Santa Monica.
Beach.
Mhm.
Honestly, can I say something controversial yet brave?
Please.
You hate the beach?
I hate LA.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, LA is so LA in every sense of it.
I don't understand why anyone... Can I tell a story on the pod? I will not name names because they'll know who it is, but you know who it is, Aurora. So, fun fact for the pod listeners. 2 years ago, Aurora and I went to DragCon LA before Drag Race, before any of it.
Oh,
And
wait,
we were
this is
at-
when y'all fought at DragCon.
Yeah, but we're not talking about that.
We talked about this because Aurora mentioned the House of Love cocktails, and she said, this is the one that I drank when I fought Van. And I was like, work, Diva, don't drink it.
We really did fight. Probably the only ever fight we've ever gotten into. Well, actually, yeah, I'd say it's the most serious fight we've ever gotten into.
Yeah.
I remember getting updates from Van the entire time and just being like, this is spicy.
But at that DragCon, we went to a bar afterwards. We went to Mickey's in West Hollywood, and Aurora was talking to a Drag Race queen. I'm not going to name who. And Aurora was being a little annoying, but kind of nice, and was just being like, "Oh, I loved you on your season, blah blah blah, whatever." This person was over the conversation, so instead of saying anything to Aurora, they just physically turned around
I
have
know
never.
exactly who this is.
And then I looked at Aurora at the end and I said, "You want to know why I hate LA?" She went like, "Why?" I said, "Because people think there's something here. Like we're all in the same bar that smells like piss, and you think
Yeah.
that you're like better than someone because you like were." Anyways, listeners, you can guess who that was, but mwah.
Mwah, LA.
We literally talked about this when we were there.
I'll never get over it. It was the most like, if you ever wanted to see someone like block someone in real life, like that's what it was.
Oh,
Like,
yeah. I basically, in the moment, I got muted, I got blocked
yeah.
in person.
And I
Restricted.
know that they don't remember it at all, which I think is
Oh, 100% not.
like they definitely don't know what happened at all.
And it's funny because I saw them again this time, and like, honestly, even better conversations. Like, it was actually like nice chatting with them this time, but I'm like, okay, I definitely
fair,
see how the vibe is.
Yeah,
I'm
every
more
time I see them,
relevant.
they're
I'm a lot more
Ooh.
relevant now.
oh. But also,
Ooh.
they are kind of always a mess. Like every time I see them when they come to Toronto through like the tours and the events and the gigs, or whatever, like they're always like.
It's
I
funny.
had brunch with them before, like
We're
literally
giving
5
too
years
many
ago.
clues. We're giving too many clues. People are gonna be like, okay, they've been to Toronto a few times. They were at
But it
DragCon
was-
2 years ago. They were at DragCon this year.
It was very the same energy. Like we were literally beside each other and like zero conversation.
It's interesting. I just feel like, people always go like New York, LA, New York, LA.
Yeah.
Let's get the first topic of the pod. Would you say you're more New York or LA? Obviously, New York.
LA.
Ooh.
Yeah, I see that for you.
I think I'm more LA.
Is it because it's warm or?
I don't know. I think the LA lifestyle suits me better.
High as fuck and just on a beach.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
I feel like Perla could honestly be both.
I think I'm not even in North America. I think I'm just gonna head straight
She's
to
a-
Europe.
She
Yeah.
Like Diva, I don't
I'll
want to
take
be
the third answer. Not this continent.
Yeah, do
None
not
of the
put me in
above.
this continent. I would like to send me to London, send me to like fucking Frankfurt, send me
Yeah,
somewhere.
I feel like a London for you would make sense. I
Yeah,
feel like
so Van is East Coast New York, I'm West Coast LA, and Perla is across the
Different
pond in
continents.
Europe.
Yeah, I'm having some like fish and chips.
I feel like New York is too busy for you. Like I feel like you like it when you're there, but like to live there, to like be there in a sense. Like I feel like you would want more of like that same kind of like posh, like London vibe, but like a little bit more of like the also like let's not do this every day.
Yeah, like let me like be able to not live in an apartment where the bathroom is shared with 8 people on my floor.
Oh my god, also that, remember when we went to New York like last summer, it was like kitchens do not exist. Like
No.
those are not real things. Like a kitchenette is considered like luxury.
There's all those like apartment tours on like TikTok that I see all the time, and it's like, oh, you literally live in like a 300 square foot like storage unit, and there just so happens to be like a hot plate. Literally a hot plate.
Period. Well, that brings us to what we're doing today. We kind of already delved into it without delving into it, but we wanted to kind of take a look back at PowderPuff Girls' origin stories, if you will, origins of our friendship. I feel like stories that are like part of the lore in a sense, like stories that we
Yeah.
reference all the time. I also think I might add in some pictures as well into this video episode to like illustrate some of the lore.
Bring back
Ooh.
Bearded Van. I want Bearded Van.
To see what we looked like way back in the day.
Yeah, and to give like a little bit of like context. There's like some stories I'm thinking of in my head that like the picture would truly be worth 1,000 words in this case.
I want to see all of us pre-filler.
Sister, I haven't got filler in a year. I'm basically like natural.
I know. Oh my god, I'm finally gonna get Botox again soon.
Oh my god, Sunday, let's go.
Yeah, I literally.
Are you going?
I messaged Marg.
But is
Shout out to
Aurora
Lips
going?
and Lines.
Shout out to Marg. Actually, quick story. At the airport on the way back, Marg and I were one row ahead and behind of each other. So we
That's
were
so
just
cute.
hanging out. I was hanging out with Pickles the pig. Oh, Pickles the, pig. Pickles the
Pickles
pug.
the pig. Wait, Aurora, are you going to get filler too on Sunday?
I might just do a little Botox.
Wow, I just seem to miss this invitation. I just
Would you like to come?
Well, no, I'm in
We're
Ottawa. Thanks
extending.
for asking.
Oh, she's in Ottawa. Okay, never mind.
I'm busy having a job. Kidding. No.
Well, I am gonna get poked, and my forehead will not move anymore because I'm so sick and tired.
I do need to message her though and get my lips done again.
I need on this side. This side is starting to droop a little bit.
Honestly, this is truly part of the lore. Like us being like, okay, we're getting filler. Who's coming? And then all of a sudden, we all have like something done. Like,
yeah.
This is
even if it's just the tiniest little bit, we all will get a little touch up somewhere.
I need to get my under eyes redone too.
She's ready.
I'm like literally looking at my face, and I'm like.
But yes, I'm so excited to talk about, the PowderPuff lore. Kind of like give everyone a little context on why we treat each other this way, why we talk to each other this way. Like, I feel like...
and maybe the trauma that bonds us together.
The trauma that bonded us together.
Wait, what's that Taylor line? Also, LOL, on the first episode, I did a poll also on Spotify of, like, what's your favorite album of the year and, like, list all the ones we talked about. Tell me why Torture Poets Department got so many votes. And we sat there and just, like, trashed it the whole thing. So, this is for the Swifties. This episode was going to be, like, that line from the Taylor Swift song of, like, you wouldn't survive an hour in the asylum that raised me. Do you know that one?
No, but I believe you.
Yes.
It was from Torture Post Department, and as we learned, you guys listened to it. So
all I know is Florida.
One hell of a drug.
Is it over now?
Maybe.
Okay.
We'll be getting into the lore. I think let's start with. Why don't we talk about how Perla and I first met?
Yeah. Okay, so Perla and Van, how did you first meet?
Yeah, I was like, thank you, Aurora. Thank you for chiming in there. I think it's really important that you have this moment.
How did we first meet? No.
Well, there was a video online of me falling over a railing. There was a video of me falling over a railing was because I took too much MDMA, and I was performing Jesse's Girl for a girl named Jesse's birthday party, and I have a V tattoo, as you can see. Mwah. And Perla also has I
have a P.
And Aurora is soon to get an A on her test.
You have to.
We've been pushing it, y'all. We've been pushing it. But fun fact for all y'all, Perla and I had these tattoos before we ever knew of each other. And then when I fell off the railing and she saw me online, she's like, who the fuck is this dumb bitch? And then she saw my tattoo and she's like, oh, work. Like, that's sickening. And then we started talking.
Okay, wait. Okay, quick context about the tattoo. So my name in drag and out of drag both start with a P. And when I met Van, I was like, oh, V. So, like, your name is, like, Victor or, like, Vincent, like, something with a V. And then she's like, no, it's a hard B. And, like, full Govy name.
Not
I was
the
like,
hard B.
Hard B. I just tell people it's like a Roman numeral when I don't know how to do drag.
Period.
You know what? Valid.
It represents 5.
5 fingers to the face.
What? What font is mine? It's like a Gothic. I think it's called Black Letter.
Mine's Times New Roman.
I love that you asked that question just so you could answer your own answer.
Oh my gosh, I need to get an A in like a brush script or something.
We told you!
And it makes sense because my name out of drag also starts with an A.
Hello, tattoo artist.
When the PowderPuff Girls eventually come to sue us, we will rebrand to Vape.
No, I think VAP.
No, it pronounced Vape.
Vape. We'll put an accent over the A.
Or no, we'll just be AVP.
AVP?
What does that stand for?
Alien versus Predator.
Hey, God.
Can't.
Take a shot every time Perla makes some obscure movie reference.
That is not an obscure movie.
I am a fisherman. I am reeling us back in. Back to the tattoos.
Okay. So then, Perla and I, we talked a lot online. Just like, obviously she lived in Calgary at the time, and we would talk a lot online.
We like FaceTimed a lot.
A lot. And then Perla had this opportunity to come to this little town called Sudbury, Ontario, for my 21st birthday. We were doing a show up there, and it was my 21st birthday.
Oh, and you broke your nose. I love that.
Well, way to just way to get the climax out before the story.
I know, it's just so good. It's just so good.
We did a show in Sudbury, or as we called it at the time, Susselberry. And Pearl was at the
Susselberry.
show. I was going to perform into Ariana Grande, and Pearl is like, I have this like version. It's so cool. It's like the Stranger Things sound with the Into You lyrics. She's like, you should perform it. I go, yeah, girl, I'm so down. Baby, not even 30 seconds into the song, my wig slides back. I think I used a different glue that night. I don't know what was happening.
Yeah.
My wig was falling back, so I went to go catch it. And then I face planted into the ground and broke my nose. But I still kept performing after I broke my nose. And then everyone in the audience...
Wait. You went over to a table and you had like a cut right here. And like they looked at you mortified. Like they were like,
my nose was quite obviously like smashed. Like
Well, from the audience point of view, Van probably just died right there.
No, literally.
From my point of view, I died too.
They literally were like, are you okay? And then you like felt your nose and then you like looked mortified and you ran off the stage. But then you came back and you still did a number and closed out the show.
Well, no, actually, what that table, when I went up to them, I asked them, I said, why is everyone looking at me? And they were like, are you okay? And I went, I don't know. And then I was like, I'm going to go. But then I did, yes. I ran off stage and we were doing a show with Priyanka at the time. And Priyanka literally didn't even miss a beat. She was like, oh, my turn. I guess my cue. Bye.
Literally.
We finished up the show and then, I came and did a number at the end. But that was Pearl and I first time meeting in person.
That is so funny.
It was so funny.
That was really
magic.
nice. Everyone thought it was funny.
Well, your okay
nose
now.
didn't.
Honestly, I will say I went to get an X-ray after that whole thing, and the doctor was like, "Your nose is fine," and I was like, "I literally probably smashed it into a million pieces, like hitting the ground."
It was amazing. It was like literally, I watched that video on repeat.
We'll post a video on our Instagram, but I will add some pictures in the episode of like what I look like.
It was
after
this
the
moment.
episode.
Yeah, it was hands up, head down, on your knees, bam.
Like, you saved the wig and you said, we're not going to lose this bitch, and you just...
That is the thing. That's the question. Would you rather lose your wig or smash your nose into the ground?
I'd rather lose a wig.
Lose the wig, yeah.
Unfortunately, I said I'd rather smash my nose into the ground.
I have such a big nose that if I were to smash this nose and it got bigger, I would be mortified.
I kind of feel like my nose, for also people at home, that was my 4th time breaking my nose. So I kind of feel like it fixed it.
It honestly pushed it back into place.
That's what I think.
Right?
Are there any doctors who could like?
Yeah,
clarify?
if we have any listeners that are doctors, just take a good look at Van's nose right now and give us a little analysis, a little checkup. Just how does it look?
A little checkup. How do I look? How do I
feel? Give us the side profile.
How do I look? The side profile? I don't have a big nose like you, sister.
Let's go to side profile.
No, it's the side profile. Honestly, is not wild at all.
Fine.
It's when you look at it.
Gone down.
That's what the filler's for. When you look at it straight on, you can sometimes see where it like zigzags a little bit. Yeah.
I think your chin filler is dissolved a bit.
Sister. Yes.
Oh not about the filler. Also, enough about the filler. But yeah, that is. Yeah, go ahead.
How did the two of you meet? Like, I was like, I was trying to think of that earlier. I was like, how did you two become?
The first...
Aurora asked me to do her like digital birthday show.
Did I?
Yeah, we had like never met before.
Oh my gosh.
Like, but it's my birthday. Do you want to do my birthday show?
I was in that show.
That. Yeah, but the first time that Perla and I ever met in person was actually at an outdoor summer like patio brunch show at Rendezvous. And I was in the back getting changed, and Perla came in the back just to say hi to everyone. And I was like, oh my gosh, Perla, like, very nice to meet you. And it was just like backstage. Obviously, Perla was offering her help to everyone backstage. Be like, oh, do you want me to brush your hair? Do you want me to zip you up? Do you want me to do this and that? And I was like, who the fuck is this? But also, hi, Perla.
Bright-eyed and bushy-eyed, new to Toronto.
Yeah.
But I still do that.
Exactly. That's why I say, I was like, of course you were doing that. Because every time you're in backstage, you're like, oh, do you want me to brush your hair? Do you want me this? Do you want that?
I don't feel like you ask. I feel like with me, you'll just like take a brush and go.
I just do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, the first time that Pearl and I met, she was at a drag, I was in drag. It was at an outdoor patio show. And honestly, it was great because she was offering help. People needed help. And I was like, okay, this girl likes to help other people out.
Who needed the most help?
I think I straightened Lemon's hair while it
You
was
did.
on her head.
You straightened Lemon's hair, and I was sweating in the heat.
Yes, yes.
That
So yeah,
sounds about
I
right.
think that was the first time that I ever met Perla.
Okay, cute, cute,
How did you two
cute.
meet?
Well, Aurora and I have a long-standing history.
A difficult past.
Aurora had a crush on me.
Oh, I heard about this. I heard about
Yeah,
this.
when I first met Van, this was back when she was competing in the second
Empire's
season of
Ball.
Empire's
Of
Ball.
Empire's Ball.
I painted her as well as most of her house.
Yeah,
And
for
that
the finale.
and that summer going into that next year, I had a big old crush on Van. I have a thing for gingers. I
But also, you
remember.
were like so young. Like, okay, not only were you younger than me, but also you were like you were so twinky back then. Oh my god, seeing pictures of you
What's the
back then,
difference
like,
now, bitch?
no,
But I really did look
if
so
you think
young.
that she looks twinky now, like back like 4 or 5 years ago, like no, 5 years ago, you looked crazy young. Like you looked like a fetus.
Yeah, I was 18, 19 at the time, so like I really was
Yeah, fair.
super fresh to like the gay scene in Toronto or just the gay scene in general. I was still learning about who I was as a queer individual, and I was just happy to be there, honestly.
Yeah.
So meeting Van, I was like, oh, this is another queer person. They're so like confident in themselves. Truly, yes. I mean, Van has stayed confident in herself.
She's like, this new queer person, I'm gonna suck their dick.
Ew.
No,
That was you.
No,
That
but
was
honestly,
Aurora.
I just thought that Van was super cute, and I like really wanted to be friends with her.
But then I had another
The dark times. The dark times.
yes, the dark era. I was in a friend group of people who, were just very interesting, and we like to fight a lot. If you know, you know. And
Hello?
It's just a little club of people that got together.
we did not
You're gonna mute
like
Van now? Yeah, mute Van. Perfect. Beautiful.
Perla doing these skits like the improv.
Thank you.
We did not love Aurora sometimes. So I feel like Aurora and I just like had and this is my thing with people is like I cannot talk shit about someone in private and then pretend to like them the next day. Like I cannot
Yeah,
do it.
you can't
I can't
do
do
that.
it. I'm like, so if I was talking shit about Aurora, then I just couldn't pretend to like her anymore. So I didn't.
Yeah, so for a while we kind of had like a little divide, and like
Not that we ever had like a fight, we just like didn't talk. And then we did a gig together in Windsor with Priyanka again. Oh my god, not Priyanka being the link.
oh my god, did Priyanka create us?
Was Priyanka also in that rendezvous show?
Priyanka is Professor X.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
Wait,
but Van and I, we did a gig in Windsor, and this was kind of when we brought up the whole drama, the feud that wasn't even a
you
feud.
brought it up. I live for it. Bring it up.
But I confronted Van about it, just like, are we good? Like, how do you feel about me? Like, why are we like this? We had a good conversation, and I feel like that was kind of the beginning of us becoming friends again.
For sure.
Which was great, because then...
Like,
yeah, go ahead.
oh, sorry. I feel like Van is also one of those people that, like, if you're gonna, like, cower behind or, like, not step up and be like, okay, diva, what's the tea? Or, like, kind of have that moment, she's gonna be like, fuck you. Like,
Yeah,
I'm done. Like,
I
want
feel like I don't have time for it. Like, it's like, you felt the
Yeah.
way about it, and you said it. And then I was like, but I didn't lie to you. I was like, you're right. This is what happened. X, Y, and Z, blah, 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 whatever.
And that's what I really appreciated, because like you were so upfront about it too. You're like, yeah, I said those things and whatever, but at the same time, we kind of moved past that, and we felt like that was very of its time, and the people that you were around obviously also kind of contributed to that. So it was like that's how everyone felt in your little group. I felt some type of way about it. I'm glad that I brought it up, because then like that was the beginning of like us coming back together and becoming friends again.
Yeah, and I feel like that's a way to get like Van's respect. Like if you come up to Van and you're like, "Hey, diva, like let's address this, move past it," she's gonna be like, "I respect you."
If you want to be friends, call me out, confront me.
Be brave, speak up,
but don't do it all at once. I think just be real. I think my whole thing is just be a fucking real bitch. Like But then Aurora and I also had the same manager for a while, so we were doing a lot of gigs together. We were like going to places together a lot, and then we
Yeah,
kind of just like bonded.
we started traveling a lot too, which I
Yeah,
feel like really forces you to like get to know someone and to
for
work well
sure.
with someone. We shared hotel rooms. That's a whole nother story, but
We have done so many things. But I
we've
think the thing that brought, I think, all three of us together, which also made Aurora and I way closer, was when we all competed in Empire's Ball
Yes.
with the rest of the Pretty Hot and Gorgeous house. I'm not going to say the word because it's going on YouTube.
Oh yeah, demonetization.
Pretty Hot and Gorgeous and PHAG. You can sound it out at home. And we mentioned it a little bit in the last episode about the Scooby Doo number we did for Empire's Ball with Steak and Jelly. But
Yeah.
we wanted to kind of compete in Empire's Ball. I really wanted to compete in Empire's Ball again and win and do it. And I remember I was talking with Steak about it, and we wanted to do it. And then Steak had pitched that she wanted to do something with Jelly as well. And then I was saying, well, we should ask Aurora. So then we asked Aurora, and then we kind of were toying around if we wanted a fifth member, who that fifth member would be. And Perla originally was very anti-drag, local drag competitions.
Yeah. I don't know. I just always hated doing. I liked watching them.
That's fair. No, baby, you can have your reasoning. But then I was like, let's just give her a call. Let's just ask her. And you did. Honestly, I don't even like you hesitated. You were like, sure, I'm down. Why not?
Yeah, I was kind of like, you know what? I really enjoy all the people. Let's all do this.
You were new in the scene. It also like it wasn't necessarily as much of a commitment as some other drag competitions are. Like it's like a group thing. So
Yeah.
and like the days that we had to perform were also very spread out. So
yeah,
it wasn't like a weekly thing where you have to have new content coming out constantly.
Yeah.
It was like, why not? Like, I'm not gonna lose anything, do it.
Yeah.
So that's
well, you really
how
didn't lose anything. We won.
We won,
and I think we kind of like set a standard with like how Empire's Ball is now. Like we kind of
definitely did.
Yeah, we yelled at them. Well, I forcibly made everyone else yell at them about the runway. I wanted to do a little runway.
Oh no, we have to get there. We have to get there because I think that like so for context for people who do not live in Toronto or Canada, I have no idea what Empire's Ball is. Empire's Ball is a competition made by Scarlett Bobo from Canada's Drag Race Season 1, sponsored by Absolute. Mwah, we love you, Absolute.
Mwah, thank you.
Yes.
And it's a team competition, so it's like house on house. So essentially, each round, at least in the one we did it, was you kind of nominate someone to do a solo number, and then you do a group number, and then it kind of like the judges score that, and that's what it is. But it's also like a lot of emphasis on like creativity, originality, also like how you work together as a team and kind of like your synergy. Yeah. So when we did it, we did the Scooby-Doo number we mentioned last time, and then also the year we did it was like it kind of went from the prelims to the finale. There wasn't a semifinal, so
yeah.
We only had the 2 rounds.
We only had the 2 rounds, so mwah. So then when we got to the finale, we did also this. It's on YouTube, so I'll definitely link some of those performances on our Instagram page so you guys can watch them. But our finale, we did. So we had this whole thing the whole time where we wanted to like unequivocally win. Like we wanted to like put our foot on those other girls' necks and like not let up. Also, like when there's like a thing in Empire's Ball where like it kind of evens the playing field. Like if you're like an underdog per se, like you can totally have the chance to win the whole thing because of the way it's structured. So I think that I really, and like we all really wanted like because we were the house the most like known like the up and coming girls or whatever. We really wanted to make sure that there was no argument that like we won.
Yeah, we wanted to like prove that like we are those girls because we put in the work, because we have that creativity. And I feel like we really stepped it up, especially in the finale. We did a little number, I think it was the Historical Museum of Bimbos.
Yeah.
Yes,
I don't know how we came up with that idea. And then we all wrote, so we all did like specific characters. I was Mona Lisa.
I was the Virgin Mary.
I was Marilyn Monroe.
Steak was Marie Antoinette, and Jelly was
Aphrodite.
Venus.
Yeah.
Yeah,
oh,
Venus Aphrodite.
Yeah.
So we kind of played off this idea of like a museum of like, it kind of like was started from like the movie Night at the Living Museum.
Oh,
and
yeah.
like, what if the museum like came alive and like what would happen? So we all wrote like verses we wrote and recorded verses to a song that like represented our character.
Give it up for Jelly for producing that too.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Jelly
Jelly
did
made
a
a
great
whole
job
mix.
on that.
It was giving recording session.
It was giving a recording session. And then we made a bunch of visuals, and like kind of the whole thing was a competition between the 5 of us to see who would win. And we like did this whole number, and then we kind of came together. And then at the end of the number, we all lost to Julia Fox, which was at the time the height of, I feel like, the beginning of Julia Fox's like
Yeah, that was kind of her like
gems.
when she kind of became like a meme, an icon, a legend. She was like really blowing up at the time, so we were like, why not?
That
just
was
play
like
off
right
of that?
after Uncut Gems.
Uncut Gems.
Yeah.
I did it myself, like all that stuff.
Yeah. So
and
that
then
was that.
I gotta say, for the runway portion of that competition, we also ate down. Like, obviously, everyone kind of chose like a color scheme or something to go with, but we really did bring like custom looks for every single one.
That's what I forgot. So a runway did not exist before we did. So at the time of Aria doing Empire's Ball, there was kind of like, I feel like at that when we won, there was like growing pains within like Empire's Ball itself, and like they were like kind of becoming a new competition.
Mm-hmm.
So we were originally all supposed to do solo numbers at the finale, and they cut that for time's sake, which honestly, thank God they did. It was still so long.
Yeah.
So imagine like each of us doing solo numbers too much. But then we were like, well, let's take this opportunity. So we were like, because, you cut opportunities for us all to like showcase ourselves. What if we did like a runway?
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, okay, that's cool, but like, that's not fair if we judge that. And we go, oh no, don't worry, don't judge it. Like, let's just do a runway to open up the night.
It's just a way for the audience to see like the whole house together. And bitch, we show up with the most cohesive looks together as a group.
Yes, we all looked so good.
Perla also made this like crazy wig, and like for those of you who know Perla, like Perla does not wear synthetic wigs. Perla wore the synthetic wig literally once and then sold it.
And it was like multiple rings, hair coming down. We really stepped it up. Also, I will have to say, when we got to the very end of the competition and they were announcing the winners, everyone was just kind of putting their outfits back on, and all 5 of us changed into other looks so that we were like kind of like a red, orange, yellow kind of
like
gradient.
flames. We were flames.
And I remember everyone, all the other houses looking at us being like, oh, you guys have other outfits? We're like, yeah, this is for the crowning. Like, we have other looks.
Well, I think also we didn't want to be crowned, and like because our number was impersonation based, like we weren't like, we were dressed like these characters. Like, I don't want to be crowned dressed like someone else. Like, I want to look like me. But our thought process behind the runway too was like, it doesn't matter what's judged and what's not judged. It's a competition. The judges are seeing all of it, so they're going to be like, who deserves to win, who does not deserve to win.
It's still going to leave a lasting impression. So,
which now, for those of you who know Empire's Ball in its current form, there is a runway every year, and it is now scored,
and it is judged.
Period.
We did that.
I love saying that we kind of did create the blueprint for what is Empire's Ball today, because if we were to compete now, it'd be completely different. But at the time, what we did was so different for what Empire's Ball has seen. Even the format of doing a number with 5 people in it, we kind of did something that no one else did.
Yeah, and like the verse writing, like we were like
verse writing or finding like a concept, for example, the Scooby-Doo concept, where there are set like stereotypes or characters that people can recognize.
Were doing that before, but I think we were like also creating like I feel like each of our numbers felt like a movie or like a TV episode.
It had a full storyline.
Yeah.
Which I loved.
The other thing, I think kind of like one of the last stories, but a really big story of kind of how we like became such a tight-knit group and like the lore is when Aurora got the call to be on Drag Race. And we were, obviously y'all, if you've followed, you'll know, like we were kind of really in the thick of it with you, but I was looking at
Hamilton. I went to Hamilton fabric shopping.
Wow, you really helped her out there, Diva. Damn.
No, yeah, but Van
I love
Perla...
that was the thing you mentioned as like your biggest help when like also we made most of the outfits in your apartment and like ruined the rug.
Van and Perla were... I say this because I said this to Drag Race production too. I was like, Van is head of design, and Perla is head of hair design or whatever.
No, when we signed these NDAs, there was like a part that said like relationship, which is obviously just like your relationship to the person
Like
sending you the NDA.
friend. Yeah.
Aurora goes, so you can just put head of design and head of hair on the relationship line, and I literally replied with, Diva, they're asking how the fuck I know who you are.
But yeah, Van and Perla were quite involved with my package, even since day one when I get all of like the runway stuff and everything. Like Van and Perla were there with me, kind of designing the looks, coming up with different
Yeah.
ideas, concepts, trying to just like brainstorm, bounce back and forth. And yeah, they had
And
a big
also-
hand in the creation of everything.
Also, shout out to Eric, Jelly, and Steak for chilling with
They
us
were
while we
also
were.
there. And Eric
Yeah,
drew
we
all
all
the
like
things.
worked together. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
And
I think
Eric,
after that, I think like we like kind of just like the three of us specifically, I feel like really linked up because obviously Paula did a lot of her hair. I did a couple of the outfits. And then I think like with Drag Race, I think specifically there's like all these like little things that like pop up like out of
Mhm.
nowhere.
Yeah.
And we kind of have to like, you have to like tackle them. Like it's a lot to think about, like a head to toe outfit and like how you're going to put that on.
Oh yeah.
Not to mention like the stress of like, just like going in general. Like,
And on top of that, because where Perla lives is much closer kind of to a lot of the things that I needed. Thankfully, Perla was able to offer her apartment as like our little HQ, our little hub, where if I needed things shipped, if I needed things delivered, it kind of all went to Perla so that it was all in one place.
Yeah.
Mind you, I live all the way in the west, so it's much further to have everything sent to me. So we kind of created like a little like hub, a little Drag Race studio in Perla's apartment, a little workshop, and everything that went down happened right where Perla was sitting right now.
Yeah, right where I am right now, I used to have a rug, and that rug got sacrificed to the dragon.
The other part of this for the listeners is that, and the video watchers, is Perla changed her apartment. Like, well, she used to change her apartment like every 2 days. Now it's kind of it's hit like a.
It's like every few
point
months
where nothing can actually enter your apartment anymore because there's just so
much stuff.
There's just so much stuff.
Yeah.
But Perla's apartment used to change all the time, so we'd be coming over and it'd be like, "Oh, this wall's yellow.
This wall's yellow now.
Oh, yeah,
the couch is now on the other side of the room. The TV is now on the wall."
We're like, sure.
The gallery wall has stayed the same,
Pretty much, yes. Yes, it has.
Now you definitely hit like a point where it's kind of the same. But
my dolls just shift around.
There was
a point there.
They still shift.
There's other story as well. So a part of the Drag Race prep, we just like play music and videos and stuff, whatever, right? And Aurora would drive us crazy with this bootleg filming of Six the Musical that she would
the slime
play,
tutorial,
and she would sing it at the top of her lungs all the time and just be like, whatever.
Yeah.
But then when she went to film Drag Race and she was gone and we weren't talking to her, I was on a flight and randomly in the middle of my flight, some girl started singing out loud a song from Six the Musical.
My rights.
Out loud. Could you imagine singing one out loud on an airplane? Crazy. But in that moment, I was like so annoyed, but I was like, this is a sign that like everything is going well.
No, literally though, like I think back to that time of when I was prepping for Drag Race and everything, the amount of stress that I didn't realize I was under because I was just coping with a lot of like
everything.
But I really do think back to that time. I was like, oh, I was quite stoned for pretty much all of it.
Well, yes.
And it would get to the point where they were like, Aurora, here's a bodysuit. Stone it. This is all you need to do. Stone it. We'll get other things done. We're going to put on your Six the Musical. You're going to smoke your joint and you're going to stone and embellish and bedazzle this one bodysuit.
And do you remember when you put on your gemstone like jacket and you knocked over my Coca-Cola and got it all over the white fabric?
I did not knock over the Coca-Cola. There was Coca-Cola spilled on the floor already.
Oh.
To be fair, at that point in the journey, it was like what, 2 days before you left, there was like piled up like takeout bags, like empty
so
like
many
coffee cups everywhere.
Coffee cups, like takeout bags. And like at that point of prep, it was giving like everyone is in Perla's apartment, everyone is stoning or trying things on, and outfits are getting Uber delivered to the apartment every like hour or two. So as things come in, it's kind of like a conveyor belt of people. And I try it on. If it's good, okay, move it to the side, then start stoning.
Well, then it was also like people were coming to drop things off, but it'd be like someone would come drop things off, but they would always bring like bad news. It'd be like, it's done, but this part is missing, and we'd be like,
Yeah, this
Underneath
one
the
part of the
fabric.
outfit was missing, or an outfit got delivered and they stoned it for us when we didn't ask for it to be stoned. Just like little things that
Yeah.
like little
Don't even get me
details
started.
just kept going wrong. So I felt like we just had so many elements and aspects to deal
Yeah.
with that it was just like, okay, get this done, stone it, try it on, move on. Get this done, stone it, move on.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it was tough, but it was fun. I think that was like such a big bonding experience for the three of us. Just like going through that, and then like just like you coming back, and like us just like getting to just be excited for you, and like
Yeah,
have
and
that.
Perla and Van met me at my apartment when I got back from filming, so it was really nice to like
Yeah,
you guys being like some of the last people that I saw before I left for filming, and then being the first people I saw when I came back. It was what I needed. It was like, okay, come back to something that I know, people that I'm
you were
familiar
like
with.
your energy when you got back. It was like you were like buzzing, like you were
Yeah,
like
you're like,
you
"Summer
were always
camp."
vibrating. You were like, oh my god, had a great time, and I'm like, whoa, like take a beat.
I'll never
Well,
forget.
that compared to when I left and I was literally a walking corpse.
To be fair, yeah, I had not slept for
I-
2 days.
It was like the Sunday morning. It was like 5 a.m. and we were like loading Aurora's car, or not Aurora's car, Drag Coven's car with like all of Aurora's stuff, and they were going to go to Aurora's to start packing while like some things got finished up here. And Aurora gets into the vehicle, and I'm like, okay, get her over there. Like, this is great. I had brunch literally that morning.
That is so Perla to schedule a brunch the next day.
Literally. And Aurora's in the back of the vehicle, and I'm like, okay. And she's like, you're not coming. And I was like, no. And then she started crying, and I looked at her and I was like, go fuck yourself. Stop crying right now because I'm going to start to cry. And then I started crying, and then Courtney was crying.
Courtney started crying, and then
And
Jamie's just like,
Jamie's
can we
just-
drive?
Jamie's
I was
literally in
not
the
present for
front
this
seat
moment.
annoyed. And then
Yeah,
I came back
I
up.
remember after too, Perla was like, did you cry when you sent Aurora out? I said, so there was no time to cry.
I remember when I came back into the apartment, you literally were like where I'm sitting right now, and you walked past the door and you looked at me and you went, you cried, didn't you? And then I was like, a bit, and then you
Well,
went,
so I think behind the
called
scenes
it,
too, like
and then
we
you
were
like walked
talking
away.
without Aurora being like, are we gonna cry? Like, how do we feel? Like, we also were like at the same time of like getting you packed up, we were like secretly behind your back, obviously getting friends and loved ones to like write you letters.
Yeah,
and, like,
Yeah.
that was also
Like,
really cute. Where so
Yeah.
You
yeah,
were literally
when
in the bathroom and someone dropped one off.
that's
Yeah,
so
we were-
funny. No, but I really did appreciate that because once I got to filming, it was kind of like a little period of just like by myself, finally processing like, oh, I'm here at Canada's Drag Race, and I have a little couple of days before we start filming, and I just find just a bunch of letters from all of like my close friends and everyone that the lovely Perla and Van kind of got together, curated this little package of just letters from home, which was really, really, really amazing. And I felt like truly my package and my experience with Drag Race would have been so different if I didn't have these two with me, helping me along the way. So it's like, wow, I really do have good people in my corner. Thank you.
would
Cry,
have done
bitch.
it again
Get
and
the
again and
tears.
again. I'm ready for All Stars. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Let's do it all over
We're
Let's
again.
do
spending
it.
more on All Stars.
A lot more.
Yeah.
For sure. Actually, oh my god, I was looking at like, okay, y'all. So sometimes, not to spill your tea, Aurora, but sometimes like Aurora can feel down about like what she produced on the runway for her season. But I was just looking at all of them yesterday, and I was like, honestly, this was so good. Like, for not having like a lot of resources, not having a lot of money, like I think you really turned it out. So like you ate. So everyone, if you loved Aurora's runways, like show her some fucking love, because like it's a lot of work to put that much effort
It's
into
a
the TV
lot
show
of
for you
work.
guys, and like especially when you don't have a lot of money and a lot of resources, and you're just like a local drag queen derogatory, and you're just trying to work for your gigs.
You're literally trying to like pull from every resource you possibly can. Like,
Literally.
yeah, like Van, for example, she was like messaging a bunch of people that she's worked with who either did
Yeah.
wigs or this and that, whatever. But yeah, outsourcing as much as we could to try to get
outsource.
me together. And You know what? We did it.
We did
User
it, Joe.
network, yeah.
The Instagram
So-
post didn't matter, but we still did it.
Not round 2.
Oh, what I loved. Y'all, I think it's time to play a little bit of a game this episode.
Ooh.
But before we do that, we wanted to just take a little bit of a break from our fun little time in the powder room to talk about some serious topics in the modern day and just like spread some
Yes.
awareness, give you guys some info. So stay tuned for that coming up right now. Hello. Okay, we're going to interrupt this little episode because we really, with all the news and the media these days, we want to give you guys a little bit of an educational moment. Everyone here on the pod is pro-Palestine, pro-ceasefire, but we are also not the most educated people on the topic, but we wanted to bring someone on who is. We have Selena Vyle on the pod right now. She's a Toronto drag queen, an activist, a comedian, also a podcaster. So she is someone who, if you know her, then you already know she has been posting so much resources, so much information about the genocide and what we can do here to help. So we wanted to bring her on and just, hear from her herself. So Selena, welcome to the pod.
Hey, what's up? Thanks for having me.
Of course. We're glad you're taking the time to come chat with us.
Yeah, and I'm glad you're using your platform to give space to someone to talk about this. I think that's fantastic. So thank you. It means a lot. Here's the thing. I know you guys say that you don't feel very educated on the topic. You don't know where to start. You don't know what to talk about or how to even say something in the proper way. And I want everyone to know that yes, I post a lot and I seem very educated on it, but I didn't start out this way. I used to be the most unpolitical person that you could meet. I did not give a shit about politics. I didn't even give a shit about Pride. I was I was one of those people who was why are there naked people at Pride? I was one of those people. And it is possible to change and it is possible to grow and to educate yourself. I went through, I think my entry point into this whole Palestine thing. First of all, I'm Lebanese. So I have a natural investment in it because I find that the things that you rise up about, the things that activists are most into are the things that they're most connected to, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So as a Lebanese person, I've definitely been very concerned about what's happening in the Middle East, but not completely educated. I honestly don't even really know Lebanon's full history.
Mm-hmm.
And so my real entry point in this was having Zionist friends. I had friends who were, I've always had Jewish friends, right? They've always been in my network. I've had really great ones. They don't talk to me anymore. Because back in 2021, there was a series of attacks in Palestine from the Israelis. And I was posting about it. Uneducated. I was just posting stuff. And then my friends who were Zionists would start messaging me. I have this one friend in particular who sent me a series of voice notes. And she was like, I want you to hear my voice. I want you to know I still love you. We are still friends. I just want you to know my perspective and why the things you're posting are wrong. And I listened to her and I was like, oh, okay, tell me more about this. Tell me more about this. And she was telling me things. And the more she would say, the more questions I would have.
Yeah.
And yeah, right? And then then I started there came a point where I started course correcting and started posting more in favor of being oh, well, there's two sides and we have to hear both sides. And then I would get messages from my Arab friends being no, baby. There's very much an oppressor and the oppressed in this situation. It is very clear cut.
Definitely.
And so then I started doing further education. So this is around 2021. I don't have the full history, right? This is very new to me. And then I by the time October 7th happened, I had more knowledge, but I wasn't fully versed in it. And then once I started reading more and sharing more, I had another Zionist friend who would just attack me in the DMs. She was just coming at me, responding to everything I posted with counter arguments and telling me I was wrong. And I never responded to a single thing she said. I put her on restricted profile on Instagram because that means that they can't see that you've read their message. And so I would read all of her messages, but she would never know it, and I would never respond to her. But what I did was everything she said, I would fact check. And then I would learn more and more and more about what is happening here.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to do a lot of my own research. And a big part of that is following accounts on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter that are talking about it, that are Palestinian, that are anti-Zionist Jewish people, Jewish creators. Because there's a lot of them out there. There's so many.
Yeah, thank
And
God.
getting your news and your information from those sources is way more educational because the media tells you what they want you to know.
Mm-hmm.
They don't tell you the full story.
And then it's part of your like regular algorithm of just like, every once in a while something will pop up and you'll be like, there's a new bit of information.
Exactly. So like I used to be so concerned with like I'm only following drag performers. I'm not following any of like my fans. I'm not following back anybody. Like I didn't even follow back my friends who were also on like my boy account that I don't use anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But like since this started, I was like, fuck drag accounts. Like there's more important stuff in the world. And so now basically my entire feed is like not drag. It's like literally all Palestine education.
Mm-hmm.
So that was like my starting point, was starting to follow more creators who were giving information on things that I needed to be educated on. And so my whole thing is I like to reshare all of that information to educate people who don't feel educated. So everything I'm posting are not things that I already knew. They're things that I'm learning as I go along. Yeah.
You're just sharing the knowledge that you're experiencing. So if someone's on your stories and they, they really want to learn more, like we suggest like going to those accounts that you're resharing and then like also doing a deep dive of your own.
Exactly. Yeah. Everybody I post is posting a lot of stuff. So like, if you ever see me post something and it resonates with you, do your research.
It's a good chain reaction.
Yeah, for sure. And I think everything should be double checked. Even the stuff I post, even the stuff that like I'm seeing them post. You've got to like double and triple check your sources because there's so much misinformation out there.
Yeah.
Like when I was following like that Zionist person, I never unfollowed her because I was learning so much from her, because everything she posted, I would fact check, right?
Yeah.
And so I have a friend who's from Toronto, and she is a Jewish professor in, I want to say, Middle Eastern history, Middle Eastern architecture, archaeology. And she lives in New York and is at NYU. And I think her contract just ended, but she's been there. She's been there through the protest. She's been there like as a Jewish professor on the line defending these protesters. And I went to her with information about the Zionist friend. I was like, hey, she's posting all this stuff. I'm like, I just need to like know if what she's saying is true or not. And then she would help me out with like, she would send me resources. She taught me about Hasbara. Do you know what Hasbara is, or Hasbara?
No.
So it's the Hebrew word for explain. It means to explain. And it is like basically any mouthpiece for the Zionist regime is like doing Hasbara. They are putting out explanations about why Israel is the greatest country. Like stuff like pinkwashing, saying that, saying that queers are not safe in Palestine. They're only safe in Israel, in the Middle East. That's Hasbara.
Okay.
So it's all, there's a really great podcast I really recommend. It's a comedy podcast. It's two Jewish fellas. One of them is Matt Lieb. He is a Jewish comedian. He used to work for Al Jazeera. And then the other one is Daniel Mate, whose father is Gabor Mate, who is a Holocaust survivor.
Wow.
And if you look into like Holocaust survivors who are still living today, they're all anti-Zionist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. And so they run this podcast, and they have on Israelis, they have on Palestinians, they have really, really great guests on. And it's also a funny podcast. So for me, I've tried listening to podcasts that give information in like a straightforward way, and I don't learn like that.
Yeah.
I am like, it just goes, I'm like, I'm not even listening anymore. It just goes in when but if you're putting it in through a comedy lens, like, and making jokes about everything, then I'm a lot more inclined to pay attention.
And it engages you, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, to receive that information. So Bad Hasbara has been an amazing podcast. They have a lot of episodes that are like timeless. You can just go listen to them at any point. They don't have to be. You don't have to be like, oh no, it's an old episode, I can't listen to it. Like they have stuff that like still resonates.
We'll
So
also
that's it.
link everything that Selena mentions in our description or whatever, because
Yes.
I'm sure everyone has a different way of learning. So if you find that like comedy or something a little more lighthearted, I mean, definitely not lighthearted with the topics, but like the way that it's delivered,
Yes.
we'll definitely put everything down there so you can check out different ways of learning.
Thank you. Yes, I appreciate that. I don't remember what got me. Oh, we're talking about Hasbara. Right. So this Zionist person brought up this one video that I went to my friend who's the professor, and it was like Hasbara mouthpiece talking about schools and how they teach Palestinian kids in school to hate Israelis and to want to kill them all. And like they teach them as children in schools. And then I went to my friend and I was like, what information do you have to counter this? And she sent me so many resources on how that's exactly what they do in Israel. And there's videos and there's like literal evidence. There's like evidence. There's videos. There's information. It's in their own newspapers that they do this to their own children. Like in schools, they ingrain them with the information that Palestinians are all terrorists and they all want to kill them, and that they should, take care of that. So it is everything. Every accusation is a confession. I think you've heard that before. A lot of people say that online. So literally anything you hear an Israeli say, or like a Zionist say about Palestinians, you can fact check that and see that it's actually something that the Zionists are doing.
It's like historical propaganda. Like we even see that in Canada when it comes to learning about like residential schools and our education system.
Thank you.
That's like there's such a huge veil over that, where like I remember when I was in school being taught about residential schools, it was like, oh my God, no, we were so great. Look what Canadians did. But when you actually open the veil and really dive into the stories from our Indigenous people and understand that it's absolutely not what we were taught, this is a perfect example and a way to connect it also back to issues in Canada.
Absolutely that. I'm so glad you brought that up, because it's exactly tied into the way we've treated the Indigenous over here and our history with that and the way we've educated ourselves on that. It's absolutely tied in. One thing I've always heard is Indigenous people say Indigenous people would never destroy the land, they would defend it. And what do we see happening over there? They're destroying the land, like just carpet bombing Gaza. They've been for years destroying olive trees. And like a native person would never, ever destroy the native landscape.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah. And it's not to say that there weren't Jews there. Like the Jews are not native there. It's just that they're not the only ones who were. Like the Arabs.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What would you so for people who feel like it's really like a lot to take in, like how do you think that like the everyday person or like someone listening to this podcast can like help out? Like what are things that you would suggest that they could do to I guess like make their voices heard and like try to make a difference?
Right. Okay. So a great thing to do is to write your government officials. There's a lot of, you don't even have to like just send them letters or call them. There's a lot of petitions going around.
Yes.
And then you just sign those and they're already done for you. You just sign your name to it and it goes off. So that's a really quick, easy way to do it. An amazing resource is boycotting. Boycotting is a really great way to help out. It's not an educational thing, but it does educate you on like where your money is going.
Yeah.
So there's a few apps. Yeah, there's a few apps that I love. One of them is called No Thanks. And the No Thanks app is free on your phone, and you take it to the grocery store and you scan every product and it'll tell you if this product is by a company that has ties to genocide. Basically.
Okay. That's great. Yeah.
Yeah. It's called No Thanks. And then there's a website called Disoccupied. And in that one, you can like look up brands that you can't scan on No Thanks. So you can look up like Adidas. You can look up like Pores, and it'll tell you. It's not 100% up to date, but it is a good starting point. There's another one called Buycott, I think, Buycott. And that one, I think, is not just
I
in
think it's just
relation.
a general
Yeah,
one for most things, causes, or anything that are happening in the world.
correct. It's not just solely about the genocide. It is like broad. So that one's a really great one, but I think that one you have to pay to
Okay.
use. So boycotting is really important. Like the boycott, divest, and sanction movement, and like the student encampments on universities, like those were ways that I wasn't part of it, but like that people got South Africa, that whole apartheid, they got that to end was through those student protests, through boycotts and sanctions, and being loud about that. And then Vietnam as well. So there's like, it has a history. It takes a long time, but there is a history of these things working.
Mhm.
So there was something I heard during the pandemic, like when everybody was concerned about COVID and people didn't know where to put their energy and didn't know where. And then I heard on a podcast someone say, pick a lane and step on the gas. So it's like, you don't have to know everything about everything. You don't have to be involved in every movement, but just pick one lane and make that your lane. You know what I mean? And like, yeah. So whether it's like advocating for boycotting or advocating for writing your officials or sending eSIMs. eSIMs is another thing that I do a lot.
Mhm.
Yeah. So eSIMs are really a really great thing to send over there. There's two companies that are doing it right now, or like organizations that are doing that right now. And they get eSIMs in the hands of medical staff, of journalists, people who are just trying to get in touch with their families, because the phone networks have been like shut down, the internet networks have been shut down over there. So it is a key component for them to be able to stay in contact and in communication. And so one of them is called Connecting Humanity. And so they collect eSIMs. You just purchase an eSIM, you just send them the screenshot of the QR code, and then they take care of getting it in the hands of Palestinians, and then in Gaza. And then the other one is called Watermelon Warriors, and their Instagram handle is watermelonwarriors.io.
Okay.
And they do it for you. So you send them the money, and then they take care of everything. I a little bit favor that one right now, because what I'm finding with the Connecting Humanity one is that if my eSIM doesn't get used, it just doesn't get used. And I have to like request a refund, which comes in credits, which I can then buy a new eSIM. But with Watermelon Warriors, because you're just sending them the money, they take care of all that themselves. So they're purchasing the eSIM. So they have it down to like a science.
They have like more so like a bank account than like whenever they need one requested, they just grab
They
one.
have a system in play. They have a well-running system.
Yeah.
Right.
So they're newer. I don't know much about them. I'm trusting them right now, but yeah. So Connecting Humanity has been around since the beginning of this.
Okay.
And so I really do trust them, but it does get difficult when like you see your eSIM is not being used. The worst is when you see that like a couple of gigs get used and then it drops off. That is the worst.
That would be so heartbreaking.
Yeah. And it doesn't necessarily mean they died. It could be that they like got displaced and they lost their phone.
Yeah.
Like it could mean any number of things, but
Still sad.
yeah, the reality of it is like not great.
Yeah.
Yeah. One other thing is there's a couple of spreadsheets that gather information on families who are raising funds to get out of Gaza. And the problem right now is that Israel's destroyed the Rafah border, so they can't get across to Egypt. The other problem is that in Egypt, the only way they can get across is by paying $5,000 to $10,000 a person, because that is a very corrupt system. So people are raising exorbitant amounts of money because they're not just trying to get out; they're trying to survive once they get out.
Yeah.
So my friend Ahmed, who's a person I'm in contact with, so he messaged me. Because I've been posting a lot. So what they do is like they find anybody who's posting about Palestine and like, please advocate for my family, please help me, please help me. It's like a move of desperation, and like it breaks my heart every time. So when Ahmed reached out to me, this was like in April, I was like very skeptical because I'd heard that there was a lot of scams going around, and there was a lot of like dummy accounts that were actually Zionists that just wanted to like throw you off and like not help you to help other people. Yeah, so fucking fucked. And so I started messaging him, and I was like asking him questions and like, where are you? What is happening? And tell me your story and all this stuff. And then I eventually got his WhatsApp phone number, and then we've been talking on WhatsApp. And so we've been talking since April, like almost every day. And he's like part of my family now. Like, I love this guy, and I'm helping him and his family, advocating for them. So if you can go on one of these spreadsheets and find a family, even if that's like the one thing you can do is find one family and advocate for them. The resources, these spreadsheets, one of them is called Project Watermelon. There's another one called Operation Watermelon, and there's another one called Operation Olive Branch. That's probably the biggest one.
Yeah, I've heard about that one before.
Yeah, Operation Olive Branch is probably the one that like is the most talked about, but Project Watermelon. I don't remember which one. One of them was the one where I found Ahmed.
Okay.
So cross-reference them with these spreadsheets, and they will also tell you if they are fraud or if they're not fraud or like where they are at in their process. So since I started helping Ahmed, this was in April, he was trying to raise £60,000, which is about $100,000
Canadian, yeah.
Wow.
It was so much. It was for him and 3 other members of his family, his father, his mother, and his brother. So when I found Ahmed, his GoFundMe was at about £4,000, and it is now at over £40,000.
Oh, that's
so
amazing.
He's
That's
a third of the way there. A third of the way there. So they have enough to get across. They just don't have enough to like survive once they're there.
Yeah.
But they're like, once the border is open, we have to get the hell out of here. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know if any Canadian organizations like Rainbow Railroad are really working to help out with people in Gaza and remove them from there, or even just get them across the borders and out of the country?
That's a great question. I actually don't know. I don't know because I haven't been in contact. I haven't really been following Rainbow Railroad, and there's one in Vancouver called Rainbow Refugee.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I have not been keeping up with them, but I'm sure that they must have an initiative going on.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is that you actually just can't get them out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, that's the problem. So, yeah, I don't know.
So we need to pressure and like put our foot on the gas with our government and our elected officials.
Yes.
To make
Exactly.
a stance, and then hopefully get people out of there. And I think at the end of the day, I think like this can feel so what's the word I'm looking for? Like distant when we live in Canada and like North America, and it can feel so like out of this world. But I think at the end of the day, it's all about like people's lives. Like, and
It is.
It's really about like life or death. And I think at the end of the day, like we can all, we all should be able to rally behind that and be like, people's careless death is just not okay, and we should not be complicit in that.
And listen, even if you need a connection to it and you want to be selfish about this is where our money's going. Our government dollars are going towards funding this. So if you don't even care about the people who are there, you should at least care about where your money is going. You know what I mean?
Honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a very important thing to look at, which governments, I know, like, I believe the Canadian government is tied with Israel and is, there's like a military agreement or something like that, isn't it? Where they're supplying weapons to Israel. And I think it's super important that, like we said earlier, reaching out to your officials and really making a stance, being like, this is fucked up that you are willingly sending money to these countries that are doing this thing, like horrible acts of genocide.
Canada has a water source in Gaza. I'm pretty sure it's in Gaza. It might be in the West Bank, but I'm pretty sure it's in Gaza. But Canada developed a water source there that the Zionists, the IDOF, blew up this week. So like that's again that's our tax dollars, like things that we put in place there, and then it's also the layer of that. Like, that is a war crime.
Yeah.
They are the occupier. It's their responsibility to provide them with water and basic necessities, and they're literally stripping them of every basic necessity possible.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And why is, like, no higher power group looking at any of these as war crimes and addressing it accordingly? Like, it makes you kind of wonder on, like, a larger scale what the connection and what the end goal is and what countries have which placements in that end goal.
You know what, there is something at the beginning of this that I learned that no one's really talked about since. It kind of like there were so many other things to talk about. This is the thing, is that it's so layered. There's
So layered.
so much to learn about. And so one of the things I learned about early on that I forgot about was that, first of all, Gaza has a lot of natural gas. So anywhere where there's like resources, that's usually where the wars are. And then the other thing was Israel wants to build
the trade route. The trade route.
Yes.
Yes, it's by lake or something, like, or like it's
well, there's a Suez Canal. There's a Suez Canal, and they want to build one through.
It's like right through Gaza, essentially, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's for like import export. That's for like, it's just all about money. It's all about money.
And I believe Canada is tied to that in an aspect as well, where it was a trade route that Canada would have some kind of tie into. I believe America also had a connection to it. And there was another country. I was reading about this.
Is it the UK? It's usually the UK.
I don't want to say yes because I'm not too sure. Right. But definitely, like, it was how all of these countries have a stake in this trade route, and Israel is the kind of head honcho of it. I'm sorry that I'm obviously wording this not the greatest.
No,
but
listen, it's fine.
And so by fighting against Israel, you're now removing your slot in attaining resources from this trade route. So why would you forfeit gaining millions, billions of dollars for the sake of innocent lives, is essentially how they're looking at it, which is fucked.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, it all comes back to capitalism.
Doesn't it always? Capitalism
it really does.
Colonization.
It always comes back to capitalism.
Like, I look at what's happening in the States with the American election down there, and it's really exciting that Kamala's running. It's very exciting. She seems to have a chance to beat him. However, she's complicit in genocide, and she takes money from AIPAC. Like, AIPAC, do you know about AIPAC? AIPAC is the American Israeli Political Action Coalition or something like that. I'm not sure exactly what it stands for, but they started out just like giving money to politicians, kind of like controlling where their votes go. Like, these lobby groups should be abolished, first of all. But now they are actively, like, now that this is like ramping up, and certain Democrats are taking an anti-Israel stance, they are now getting candidates to run against anybody who calls for a ceasefire and beat them, just because of the amount of money they have to put behind them. So Cori Bush, who is an incredible advocate for Palestine and for, like, she's a black congresswoman. Yeah. And she was just, she just lost her seat. She just lost her seat. She gave this really powerful speech last night or the night before saying they thought they could silence me by, like, removing me from my seat. Yeah, it probably did, because everybody's resharing it right now. She's like, this just emboldens me because I'm no longer tied to, like, my position as a governmental person. I'm coming for you, AIPAC. I will take you down. And I'm like, yes, Cori Bush. Yes.
And I think this is also a really big thing within the American. It's so weird being in Canada, because I feel like American politics is so distant from us, but also literally in our backyard. And,
and it's like tied to the whole world.
Exactly.
Yes. And we are so influenced by that.
So influenced. And I think that it is so important that obviously Trump does not get elected. That is a huge, we do not want that.
Yes.
It's just,
but it doesn't mean that we, like, can't hold Kamala accountable for also her.
There was just a rally that she was at where Palestinian protesters
protested
and came up and asked her to state that she wants a ceasefire. And her response was literally like, stop, shut up, what are you doing? Like, I think she swore at them, which
she didn't swear, but she did say, do you want Trump? She's like, unless you want Trump to win, otherwise I'm speaking. And it was just so condescending. And the fact that the day before or the day of, she had met with the heads of the, what's it called? The undecided movement. So people who are like I'm undecided. I'm not voting for Republican or Democrat. I'm probably going to vote third party. And so she had met with them and like made them feel heard and was like, I understand what you're saying. And then she goes to this rally and shuts down protesters when all she had to say, somebody on Twitter responded to me posting about this and was like, well, what should she have said? I'm like, she probably should have said, I hear you. And, you know, like just make them feel heard and be like, I've met with the leaders of the undecided movement and we are working towards something, you know, but
Yeah.
like she had to take that like condescending, like principal of a high school stance.
Yeah, I did feel like very like I'm your parent.
Like
Yeah.
shutting it down.
Yeah, it had like kind of like like upset mommy look.
And which like
Yeah.
I think adds another layer of oh fuck into this whole situation with the American election. Like if she's not going to really take a stand and do something about a situation like this, there are a ton of those undecided voters that are going to be voting third party. And
Yeah.
essentially within an American election, voting outside of Democrat or Republican is essentially a wasted ballot.
Just the way it's set up, yeah.
And
Mhm.
Yeah, exactly. But here's the thing is if everyone keeps believing that and saying that, then it will always be true. You know what I mean? Like, unless everybody comes together and is like, no, we're voting fucking Jill Stein.
I mean,
And
similar to here, how we talk about like the last election we did with like
Yes.
Jack Me, and we all said like, oh, if we vote NDP, like it's never happened. Well, if it's never happened, and we always say it never happens, and it will happen.
exactly.
But
Exactly.
eventually, you have to stop being like, I'm going to vote the lesser of two evils. I want to vote for where I really feel like my vote aligns.
Yeah. I felt that during the mayoral election when we were voting for a mayor. I was like, Chloe Brown was so she wasn't close at all. But the year before, or the 4 years before, she placed third.
Mm-hmm.
And then because Olivia Chow ran against her this time, she got all the progressive votes. But it was like she's not fully progressive. Like we could have had somebody who wouldn't back down to Ford and like wouldn't give him Ontario Place and wouldn't give him like all the
listening
things that
to
she
Chloe
conceded
Brown's campaign and like her speeches and everything, it was just like
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
It was so
and usually
good.
with third party people like Chloe Brown, Jill Stein, Claudia Dela Cruz,
mhm.
they have plans. They have action plans. They are actionable plans. They are plans that can be put into place. They are looking at other systems around the world and how it works for them and how it could work for us. So they're not big money people. All the people that are like part of the big parties are big money people, and they only care about money.
Mm-hmm.
Capitalism.
Well,
Yeah.
we want to thank you for coming on and sharing this. I feel like y'all, if you take away anything, make sure to look up some of the resources we'll be sharing on our socials. Check those out. Check out Selena also if you want to follow her on. Your Instagram is Selena
Vyle, Vyle.
Selena Vyle, just like that. Period. Easy peasy. We'll also share her profile so you can find it easier. And then I think just like the end of the day, stay informed, stay on top of it, and being political is not just voting once every 4 years. You know, stay on top of the people you're electing and hold them accountable.
Exactly.
That is correct.
Period.
That is
Well,
correct.
Thank you so much.
Thank you
for
so
coming.
much,
Thank
We
Selena.
really appreciate
Thank
it.
you, Selena.
I appreciate you having me. Thank you for using your platform for good. I hope more queens do this.
Period.
And I want to, before I go, I want to shout out the Drag Kings because
Yeah.
I have learned so much from Drag Kings. They have been posting relentlessly. They are people who are always at the front lines of like any issues. They're disability advocates and advocates for trans rights and for Palestine. And they're like they just don't stop, and they are so educated. So book your drag kings and listen to your drag kings, please.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I would also just want to. I've been following a lot of information that I've learned is actually they're not a drag king, they're a drag artist, but an alien has been
Yes.
someone that I've seen like an amazing amount of posts about, and they've always been such a great source of education there. So just shout out to them for all that they've shared.
1,000%. Yeah.
Cool.
All right, well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Back to
Love
the
y'all.
episode.
Mwah.
And we're back. Okay. We really just wanted to give us some education. I know sometimes in this world it can be
Yes.
honestly so scary. And we love that you guys come here. Well, we hope that you guys come here to have a laugh, have a good time with us. But at the same time, we also want to be informed citizens and really do our part, because this world is a scary place. And if we can make it better and we can try to make it better, then we should. And it's kind of that on that, I guess. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least give you a starting point to, continue your own research and learning
Exactly.
and ways to help those in the world.
100%.
But we are going to jump into a little game of Who Tweeted That? Now, we have very silly presences on Twitter. I feel like that's where the unfiltered thoughts go. And sometimes we say things that we're like, oh, I didn't remember tweeting that.
I've definitely gotten in
so valid.
my fair share of like Twitter fights before. But,
So our lovely Van has compiled a bunch of tweets for us, and we're going to choose a couple at random, read them out, and if you're at home listening, please play along and see if you can guess who tweeted what.
yeah.
So starting off, this one reads, once upon a time, my hip pad ripped and I used E6000 to fix it, but it didn't dry enough and ended up getting stuck to my bare leg and it really holds. 30 out of 10 recommend this product, but not when it's potentially still wet and against your flesh. Felt hot, bled hotter.
I wonder who that was.
Oh, who could it be? We're going to give everyone 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Well,
It
Trinity
was
points at
me.
herself.
It was me.
E6000 is a product that you should not even breathe, let alone have on your skin. But I'm happy that you were just trying to be resourceful.
It bled so much, and I had a gnarly chemical burn.
I could totally imagine you in the moment of like, what's closest to me? E6000. And just
No, literally.
And the way that E6000 tubes work, they just flow out sometimes.
No, I put such a small amount on, and I thought it was just right in the middle, but like as it condensed, it just like oozed onto my leg, and like I had let it dry for like 10 minutes, and I know that that's not enough time.
No.
But
Yeah.
oopsie.
Whoopsie.
Yeah, if anyone's worked with E6000 before, you want to at least give it like a full day to like just cure and
It's
set.
literally a full day.
And
sure.
Perla said, let's just do it on my skin.
Yeah.
I did.
Perla, what tweet do you have?
Okay, the tweet that I have is, the Drag Race girl to thirst trap soft porn is a very interesting transition.
It is. And Aurora, you're guilty of it.
What?
That's true.
You're guilty of going this transition. Actually, I think I tweeted this about you.
Yeah, I like how you just totally just skipped right into it, being like, I tweeted this.
Sorry,
was
because
me.
I feel passionately about it, because the way that girls will go on Drag Race and then just become like soft porn Twitter accounts is insane. Like,
And you know what? My fans love it.
do they?
Enough people that I will keep doing it.
I feel like it's giving.
I love that for you.
Sometimes I feel like it's giving like the Drag Race girls are like, I'm not getting enough attraction on my post. I'm gonna post a nude, and I'm like, oh my god, y'all, can we like get back to doing drag? Can we please get back
I
to
say
doing
go
drag?
for it.
100% Van, you have hit it on the head. That's exactly what it is. When there's not enough traction, when there's not enough people commenting and liking and resharing, you drop a little thirst trap, and that's how you get the views up.
Love your body, celebrate your body.
Period.
No, celebrate your body for sure. Like, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying like you went on Drag Race to be a drag queen, so be a drag queen.
Post hole on Maine.
Also, I love that in that tweet, Juicebox replied with it being like, drag me.
Valid.
Okay, I got a tweet here. Said to someone on the airplane that she was sitting in my window seat and that she's actually got the aisle seat. Miss Ma'am responds with, but I like the seat more. Diva, really? That's not how this works. TF.
I know who this is.
Miss Ma'am.
Miss Ma'am. Really?
Okay. It was Aurora.
Yes.
That was Aurora.
Oh, let me tell you, I, in that moment, really thought the audacity that this girl has. I luckily was like, okay, I'm just gonna keep calm and I'm just gonna let this girl have this seat because she was an older lady. And I was like, it's not worth getting in an argument with this.
Drag her.
It was not worth it getting in this argument. I was also on the way home back to Toronto, so I was like so over it. I did not have the energy to.
Wait, did you let her take the seat?
Yeah. But look, but you know what? I got the aisle though, so I wasn't squished between people.
Fair.
I just personally really love having the window seat because I can lean against the window and just sleep.
Yeah.
And I usually don't really pee on the airplane, so I was like, oh, I don't want to be in the aisle to have someone be
I've
like,
seen
excuse
so
me.
many tweets about people being like, when families like ask to switch seats for a certain reason, it's like, and people are like, not my circus, not my problem. Like, people
On the Oh, sorry. Go first.
on airplanes, like how people like how parents
Yeah.
always like get really like angry, like people have kids, like get like, oh, well, I want to sit beside my kids. Like, well, then you should have booked seats together. And I think that it's like sometimes when you get on airplanes and some other situations, but airports, people lose all like common sense and like manners and like calmness. I don't know, something about airports and airplanes make people insane.
No, when we were flying back, actually,
Well, some technical difficulties, but we're back. If you were so curious about Perla's story, that sucks because you're not going to hear it.
That's okay.
We're going to end this week's episode off back to our Puff Puff Pass. So, Perla, why don't you kick it off then? What is your 2 puffs and your puff for these last 2 weeks?
My puff is going to be the K barbecue that we had when we were at DragCon. It was so good. My other puff is going to be sleeping in my own bed after sharing a bed with 2 other people. And then
You shared a bed, all 3 of you?
yeah, for the
Oh, you
second
better.
hotel. Yeah.
Oh,
And
you
then-
better.
My pass is going to be people that take their shoes off next to you on airplanes.
I am one of those
Okay,
people.
I'm not gonna lie though, same.
I'm one
But
of the.
okay, but I keep it to myself. Like I'm like I don't put my feet up.
I'll take
One
my
time I was
shoe
on a
off.
plane,
Though.
coming back from DragCon UK, there was a girl behind me with her feet off, and she put her foot on my armrest.
I remember you sending us pictures of this, and you just being like, "What did I do?"
No,
I looked at hitting it.
the guy beside me on the flight back literally took his shoes off and like kept just like lifting them onto the seat, and I was like,
Ugh. If you're gonna take your shoes off, keep them to yourself. Like keep them down because
Yeah.
I feel like my feet like kind of swell on airplanes.
Oh, 100%. Like usually, like feet and ankles might like swell up, and
Okay,
also
yeah.
if you're sitting in your shoes for that long,
It's uncomfortable.
they do get uncomfortable and sweaty. But I will take them off and keep them under the seat.
Yeah, I'm not.
in a comfortable pair of shoes and keep them the fuck on your feet.
Okay, but your feet still sweat throughout the day, baby.
I don't care.
Okay.
Okay. So don't sit next to Pearl on an airplane. Got it.
If your feet are
puff
exposed,
tops?
keep your feet fucking locked down.
Perla hates feet. Also, context.
I
True,
hate them.
me too. My first puff will be.
I'm into a little foot.
My first puff is gonna be DragCon LA. Why not? And just Los Angeles in general. I really enjoyed the weather there.
Oh no, it was so hot.
No, I loved it. I got a beautiful tan, and you know what? My tan is gonna be my second puff because I got back and my roommate. First thing that they said was, "Oh, you look so tan," and I said, "Thank you." And my pass for this episode is gonna be Toronto flooding. All of my
we missed
stuff,
that.
all of my stuff, especially my Drag Race package, is all in the basement storage unit. And I do not know what the state of it is right now because our basements did flood and our elevators were out of commission for 3 days. So I will report back next episode to see if any of my Drag Race package has survived.
Well, they were in bins. It was in bins.
It was in bins, so I really hope that the bins helped kind of keep everything safe.
I feel like those bins would do that. They're good bins.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so I will report back on the state of my package next episode.
Wow. Okay, my first puff is gonna be. Do you think you fell out of a coconut? These Kamala Harris. Do you think you fell out of a coconut tree? Mixed in with a song. I tell you, every time I find one, I have to watch the full thing, and I laughed out loud every single time. I think it is the funniest thing I've ever heard in my life. You think you just fell out of a coconut tree? You exist in the context. I love it. I'm obsessed with it. My second puff is gonna be
I love that.
This green room that you're in.
Brat. No, my second puff is gonna be honestly working with your friends at drag shows. I feel like I just had a show last weekend with Destiny, and I had like so much fun. I just like
I love
having
Destiny.
good friends in your shows with you is just like the vibe. We were like up till literally 5 a.m. on Homewood, just like being menaces. You know how we do.
Oh my god.
And my pass is gonna be passive aggressive compliments. Like I had someone tell me that when I was wearing a blonde wig, which was shocking, someone was like, I love you in blonde. You look so much better. And I'm like, honestly, like, keep it to yourself.
That's so unnecessary.
No, and in the moment, I was like, do I fight or do I go home? Because I just want to go home. So I just went home.
You went home.
Hello, hair salon. Can
my
you
other
please
puff,
send
not to
the
add
dark
another
hair
one.
dye?
Okay, I love black hair, but I was like, and I tried to also like save them. I was like, oh, it's just because I don't wear blonde. They're like, no, it looks better on you. And I was like, girl, shut up. But yeah.
Well,
I
those
hate
are
that.
our Puff Puff passes of the week. I love that. No, truly, like...
Had to end it off with a little spice, you know?
Yeah, keep it to yourself. If you don't have anything nice to say or something that's a backhanded compliment, just keep it to yourself.
Don't say
Backhanded
anything
compliments,
at
that's what we call
all.
it.
Backhanded compliments.
Okay, but also, if you don't have anything nice to say, like, don't keep it to yourself, but, like, don't be surprised when I fight back.
And that's our episode of the Powder Room this week. A little chaotic, I feel like.
It's always chaos.
Yeah,
what are you talking
it's
about?
always chaos.
Well, we will see you later. We're going to do a little poll on our Instagram to get some topic ideas from y'all, see what you guys want to see. We have some ideas of our own, but we want to know what you guys want to do. So make sure you go and follow us on socials at PowderPuff Girls Official, and you can catch our video episodes on Spotify, YouTube, and then audio episodes on Apple Podcasts.
Yes, thank you,
We
everyone.
are really interested in doing an ASMR episode. If anyone would like to contribute, thank you.
Yes. All right, bye, everyone.
Bye.
Goodbye.